Hey everybody, welcome back to Conscientious Omnivore. My name is Pal. Today I want to talk to you guys about a topic that I've come across on Twitter quite a bit. If anybody doesn't follow me on Twitter, I have a pretty good following there. Please do come and follow me. You can also message me directly there if you want. It's a little bit more convenient than the YouTube comments sometimes. I tend to respond there a little bit quicker. But anyway, I've seen this topic come up a number of times on that platform, and I wanted to address it a little bit and give you guys kind of my insight that I just had occurred to me in the recent days. I think it was a couple days ago when I was in the garden. So the question that I have in the title and the thumbnail kind of points to this idea of being an animal lover and being a vegan, and do you have to be an animal lover to be a vegan, and also can you be an animal lover if you're not a vegan? And it's a funny thing because I think it's like it does go one way but not the other. So my view on it is that you do not have to be an animal lover to be a vegan. But I think if you really are an animal lover, when you just unequivocally and unconditionally just say that about yourself or hold that about yourself to be true, I think you really kind of have to be vegan. And let me explain, what I mean by this. So just as an easy example, I can say about myself that I would say really like most animals, and I can even say that I love certain animals, but I most certainly wouldn't describe myself usually as being an animal lover. I don't really even love, I don't even really like all animals, to be frank. And so I'll tell you a story. This is why it occurred to me. In the garden, I struggle with cats. We're not living at our new property yet, so there's just tons of stray cats that come and go as they please on the property. It's a really big property. And we had problems in our last garden as well, where stray cats just come, and because they have the nice mulch there, they view that as a big kitty litter, as a big potty. So they just dump all over my garden, and it really frustrates the heck out of me. And I wouldn't say that I hate cats. I certainly don't. But I certainly don't love them, and I certainly don't even really like them. And even as a kid, like growing up, like we always had dogs really more than cats. So I mean, like I kind of always liked cats when we went somewhere else, like somebody else's house, and I'd love petting cats and stuff like that, and they're cute and whatever, but like we never really had one. And to some extent cats really are different. Like you don't play with them the way you play with dogs. Like I was more of a dog person. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. My point is that cats really frustrate me, and they kind of literally poop on the work I'm doing in the garden. So I most certainly don't love them, and I don't even like them. But am I still a vegan? Yes. And will I hurt the cats? No. Now what I've done, as you can see in the clip that I'm going to play here, is I'm actually putting down some kind of like barbed little sticks and trees and stuff kind of on the edges of the garden, of the mulch bed, because that is where they have tended to really concentrate their efforts. And it's not just that they poop in the mulch bed. I wouldn't mind that, but what they do is they bury it, or they scratch, and what they do is they end up burying my tiny little plants. So I've had to dig out several of my little plants, and some of them obviously have kind of like died or are close to dead from being buried with the mulch, or maybe the cats are actually scratching at them, and it just frustrates me. So I put down these little sticks and cuttings from the locust trees, which have little thorns and stuff, in the hopes that will keep them away. I've heard from several people into gardening that usually kind of will keep them away, and it doesn't harm the cats. They're smart enough to not walk into like brambles or sharp bushes and stuff. So anyway, that's what prompted my whole thinking on this question, and sorry it took me that long to get there. But what I really wanted to talk about is the Yulin Dog Festival, and also just as a broader topic, the fact that a lot of cultures throughout the world do eat dogs and cats. And a lot of people really love cats and really love dogs. And when they see these kind of images of these particular animals being killed and eaten for food, they're often very disgusted and very shocked and outraged. And I kind of want to address both sides, because what I see a lot happening is that some vegans will kind of attack people who are outraged about this if they're not vegan. And they'll say, how dare you get upset about a dog getting killed when you don't care that a cow gets killed or a pig gets killed or whatever, whatever other food animal, in the West or wherever this person might be gets killed. And I don't think it's necessarily fair to say that, because I do believe that intention matters. And unfortunately, in a lot of these, cultures that do eat these animals, they have this crazy belief that the meat will actually taste better if you torture the animal, if it suffers greatly. So the more it suffers, the more they think that it will taste better. And so what they do is they not only just like try to kill the animal as quickly or as quote unquote humanely as possible, and then cook it and eat it. What they will do is they will torture it literally to death, or boil it alive, or skin it alive, or do all sorts of horrific things. And that I think really does make it different to the Western kind of idea of humane slaughter. Now, I've already done a video about humane slaughter. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. So I don't believe that there is such a thing as humane slaughter. So don't take my words to mean anything like that. But what I am saying is that there is a difference of intention. The person who is buying a hamburger in the West doesn't believe that their meal comes at the expense of that animal suffering unduly or for like long periods of time or whatever. Now, sadly, they're mistaken, because many times the animals do suffer greatly, and they're not privy to a quick death and painless death as the consumer is often led to believe. Those animals suffer hugely and for long periods of time, and it's well documented that many times these animals are actually fully conscious when they're being slaughtered and butchered. So sometimes you will hear and see these animals move when they're getting either their legs and tails and stuff cut off, or their skin being ripped off or boiled. So they literally go through the same things many times as what these cats and dogs go through, but people don't know this and they don't realize it. And I will say that it doesn't happen to every single animal, but it does happen shockingly often. I've done a video about this as well. I think it was in that same video where I talked about some of the statistics, but it can happen to roughly like anywhere from at least maybe 1 in 6 animals, sometimes higher, depending on the plant and depending on the conditions. So, you are nowhere near kind of absolved just being in the West, thinking that your meal choice doesn't, greatly impact and cause huge suffering to the animal of choice, because it does. But what I am saying is that the intention is still different, and it still does matter. I do believe that. So sometimes I get a little bit frustrated with vegans kind of giving people a hard time about opposing those things. Now, what I do like is when vegans like Earthling Ed or other people like that who are very, very good at communicating and putting questions into people's minds and planting those seeds. I really do like when they start getting engaged with people who are at, say, these protests against Yulin Dog Festival or any of these other kind of similar efforts, and then they start them thinking about these things, and they say, well, what is the difference between that and a pig and a cow, etc. That I really do like, and I think that is a very valid approach. I think that's really good to get people to start seeing that these animals really aren't that different. They're different to us because that's what we've got in our homes as pets, but ultimately, like, lots of people do have pigs as pets too, and I bet that they would be horrified to see their particular pet animal go through that kind of suffering. And so I think that is good. So that's why I say, you don't have to be an animal lover necessarily to be a vegan. I would never wish harm upon a cat, even though they do annoy me sometimes, but I still wouldn't want to harm it. I just want it to kind of stay out of my garden. I'm probably going to at some point fence it in or something like that so I can keep them out a little better. But that's neither here nor there. My point is that you don't have to be an animal lover. I know lots of vegans in real life, on Twitter, kind of like through comments, and lots of people say that they're not animal lovers. In fact, they don't even like being around animals. Lots of people don't have pets. They don't want to have pets. They never had pets. They don't feel comfortable around animals. They don't even like animals. But that doesn't mean you go out and exploit them for your own use or your own pleasure and your own convenience. So I say, that hopefully addresses that. I don't know if you feel differently. If you do, let me know in the comments and why. But now the flip side of it is there are some people who claim to be animal lovers, and they just will tell you, I just love all animals. They're all so beautiful and they're all so cute, and they love the baby crocodiles and they love the snakes and they love, squirrels and pigs and everything and whatever. But if you are eating animals, that no matter which animals, then how can you really claim to be an animal lover if you are going to eat them? And that, I think, really, it should be self-explanatory, but I think for a lot of people it's not, because it's just been, that's the way you've been raised, that's the way you've been indoctrinated to think of certain animals as food animals, and other ones as the ones that you think are really cute and whatever. And some people that will even think that piglets are really cute and little chicks are really cute, but as soon as they're grown, they're not cute anymore. They're not to be petted and played with. They're to be killed and eaten. And people will just think, well, that's just how it has to be, and they will just make all sorts of kind of justifications to not have to really come to that realization that they're being hypocritical. Like, if you claim to be an animal lover, you cannot in good conscience be eating and exploiting them for clothing or cosmetics or whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much the video. I think I covered everything I wanted to say. That's my take on it. I would love to know yours if you have a different take, and maybe why. And if you guys liked it, give it a big thumbs up. And really appreciate everybody signing up. I got a lot of new subscribers. Really appreciate that. So see you guys in the next one. Bye.